approaching a stop sign. The message was like, send it now. As I got to the stop sign, which I know I shouldn't be doing, but whatever. I was at the stop sign. I grabbed my phone and I sent her a text. As I'm like going like to now go, a freaking car came and blew the stop sign. Like I'm talking like 40 miles an hour blew the stop sign. Like didn't even see it. Would have crushed me.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amaomi, aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are discussing intuition and how it might save you or prevent you from making a drastic mistake. In this video we are going to understand what intuition is, and we're also going to check out people who have shared stories about how their intuition has saved their life or prevented them from making a big mistake. So let's check out what people had to say. Then I'll come back to share my own story.
Intuition is your form of recognizing, I've just had a hit. I'm getting information. Here's what is true. You won't become clearly intuitive if you don't have the capacity or the courage to follow your small intuitive hits. If you can't follow that, you sure aren't going to get a big one.
How do you know when it's truly intuition and not wishful thinking or not, imagination?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Because intuition makes you feel uncomfortable. Fantasy doesn't.
Oh, wow. Now you got to say that again. Intuition makes you feel uncomfortable.
Fantasy doesn't. It's that kind of funky feeling. And somehow or other, with clear intuition, comes a package of courage that you don't get with fantasy. It's like a little battery that gets plugged into your solar plexus, gets plugged into your gut, and it begins to boom, 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 throb constantly. It's relentless, and it gets louder at night. You can count on it. Intuition becomes absolutely obnoxious at night. All right? Until you start doing something about it. And when you start following it, then you begin to experience the phenomenon of synchronicity. Whereas, if it's a manufactured fantasy, you don't get that kind of help. You absolutely don't get that kind of help.
You get closed doors.
Yeah, you get closed doors, or, people are reminded to forgive and let go. When people are holding on to grudges or can't think kindly of somebody, think of how many times you're reminded, will you get on with it and let this go? Now, what intuition generally does is it's a form of guidance for tomorrow and for today, to make the right choices today so that your tomorrow plays out the way it should. You can't get a clear intuitive hit because you're unable to act on it. You enter fog. You enter chaos. And it's a healing chaos. It's a protective chaos because you're not able to move forward anyway until you let go of the past. So all your intuition will be telling you is let go of the past, because without doing that, I cannot give you a clear choice about tomorrow because you don't have the energy nor the focus to act on it.
All right, I just think Spirit, my intuition, my guides just saved my life. Listen to this, okay? So I was driving, going to the gym, right? And I was having a conversation in my DMs with a friend. As I'm driving, I heard in my mind's eye, send the video to her. Approaching a stop sign. The message was like, send it now. As I got to the stop sign, which I know I shouldn't be doing, but whatever. I was at the stop sign. I grabbed my phone and I sent her a text. As I'm like going like to now go, a freaking car came and blew the stop sign. Like I'm talking like 40 miles an hour blew the stop sign. Like didn't even see it. Would have crushed me. Had I not stopped and paused and taken that extra 3 seconds to send that freaking text, I think I'd be dead. I'm a little freaking shook. I'm telling you, when you get that intuition, that clear freaking knowing, like don't hesitate. That 3-second text saved my life. Thank you, Spirit. My heart's beating a little bit faster. Always listen to my intuition. Always. Don't freaking dismiss it.
I wanted to share a story about one way my intuition, I honestly believe, probably saved my life. Several years back, my son and I were driving on this one really particular busy highway to drive into the mountains to go for a hike. I live in Colorado, so it's something that we're used to a lot. And in this part of the area, there are a lot of elk and mule deer and even bison and stuff like that occasionally. So when we were driving out of the city, I suddenly started to feel like I was just really slowed down, and I felt this peace and this calm wash over me. And I looked down at my speedometer and I noticed that I was like, I was actually driving a little under the speed limit, and which is really unusual for me. Like, I'm not a speed demon, but I also like tend to at least drive the speed limit. And I was like, gosh, I don't know what it is. I just feel really like I just need to just enjoy this drive. And I really trust when I get feelings like that, where it kind of like washes over you. I was very present in what I was doing, very present with the world around me. And I just felt very hyper tuned into my surroundings in a really light and flowy way. Now, a little bit after we started driving, all of a sudden I look up the highway and I can see a whole bunch of cars slamming on their brakes. And this is like maybe 20 seconds out ahead of us, right? Like going at like, 65, 70 miles an hour. And all these cars are slamming on their brakes all of a sudden. And so I had plenty of time to slow down, and I get up there and all these cars are pulling over. There is a car flipped over, someone thrown from a car on fire, and a small mule deer sitting over by the right side of the road shaking from, it probably ran in the road and almost caused an accident. And I'm talking, this accident was so recent, like that if we had been driving the normal speed limit, we likely would have been in it. And I mean, it was so recent that people were literally just pulling out their phones and pulling over to call for help and running out of their cars to go check on people. Cause this was like probably 7 or 8 cars involved. I was out of my car, like my kid's in the car seat. So I'm trying to like yell over to people, are you okay? What's going on? And like, I'm calling. So everyone was able to get taken care of, but there were some pretty serious injuries in this whole thing. And I realized, had I not been compelled by something to drive just a little bit slower, to just like take my time on the road, I very likely would have just that extra 5 miles an hour caught up that 20 seconds and probably been in the middle of the accident.
Intuition has literally saved my life in certain situations. And that hasn't always been the case. Like, you grow into learning to listen to it as you become more in tune with yourself, and as you get older. There are several instances of when I was younger where I had no idea what the heck intuition was, and I was not listening to her because I was doing risky ass shit. So yeah, I think that shows up a lot in how I move through my professional life and my career, but also now how I move through my personal life.
One thing about me, and I advise to everyone, is to always listen to your intuition. Your intuition is the knowing without a reason. The only time you find out whether your intuition was wrong or right is when you disobey it. And as somebody that used to be a former people pleaser, I used to always give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But that put me in situations where I ignored how my body was feeling in the moment for the sake of giving people another chance. But as somebody that has now acknowledged peace as an intentional act, it has to be reinforced day in and day out, and that includes being intentional with what you allow in your environment. I'm now comfortable distancing myself from people when I sense a bad vibe, because I've come to acknowledge that not everybody that does you wrong has to do it through a physical act, like this person hurt me. You also have to acknowledge that sometimes their energy isn't good for you, and as a consequence, you're going to have to cut them off, and the sooner you do that, the better. It doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you a kind person, because you know when to prioritize yourself without being walked all over.
I would like to know what situations you've been in where you've used your intuition and you're so glad you did. And I'd like to know situations where you didn't use your intuition and how things went awry or how things happened. But just really getting to know like the power of intuition and how often we really should trust it. Because I would say every time I haven't followed my intuition, something not so great happens that I feel like could have been prevented if I would have followed my intuition. But everything happens for a reason, so it is what it is. But yeah, what's your take on intuition? Any fun, cool stories? Anything you want to share?
Tell me about a time when your women's intuition has helped you save your life or someone else's life. I'll go first. So I went to a funeral with two of my sisters. This was ages ago. I was 17 at the time, which is crazy actually, considering the story I told you guys about before, my Susie stitch where I saved a man's life. I was also 17. So a lot was happening with my intuition in this year. So my sisters are outside, they're talking, and I'm inside. It was my sister's friend's funeral, so I don't really, like, I knew some people there, but not in a way to like mix and mingle and not as many people as them. So I was just like sitting inside waiting for them to be finished, and then we'll go home. And then I had this feeling from like my head to the bottom of my stomach that goes like, and that feeling feels like your life is leaving your body. And I probably say that now because I know what that feeling is attached to, because I usually have that feeling when it's tied to something to do with death, but I usually have it in dreams, and then it makes me jolt out of my sleep. However, it happened in my waking life, but it made me jolt up still. And literally before I knew it, I was at the door with my bag on, telling my sisters, we need to go. Usually my sisters would have been like, why are you telling us what to do? Or like, you can go, but we're going to stay. Because really, why was I telling them what to do? It was just out of the blue. I didn't give any reason. I was just like, we need to go. But luckily they were like, okay, and they came with me. We left so quickly that my sisters didn't even get to say goodbye to everyone that they knew, which is why my sister's friend was calling her frantically 5 minutes as we're in the car. We literally were still in the same area trying to find out where she was, because someone just fired in the exact same spot where my sisters were standing. It's been 13 years and I still shake whenever I tell that story, because my sisters could have got that day if we didn't leave in the exact time that we left. If we waited just a few more minutes, it could have happened. This is why I always say, trust your intuition as urgent as it comes through to you. If you have that feeling where it's just like, I need to leave, I need to get out of here, do not question it until you've left the space and you are safe. Question it later. Move now, question it later.
If you're ever feeling especially crazy, just remember one time I was fully convinced that the guy I was talking to another girl, but I couldn't prove it. Instead of being a normal, civilized human being and just asking him, but men lie, so that probably wouldn't have worked. But instead of doing that, I literally prayed at night, God, please send me his password. Send me his password. Just send me his password. Please, 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 please. Let me tell y'all, literally, God is my witness. I had a dream about it. I literally had a dream that I was typing in his password on a calculator, and it's like, I broke the fourth wall in my dream and like looked at myself, and I was like, shot up out of my sleep. I grabbed that phone. I typed in that number. Babe, I got in the phone. I literally got in the phone. I was literally programmed like DNA to be psycho. This is not my fault. This is literally not my fault. God told me. His phone was actually clean as a whistle. So, amen. Won't he do it?
Let me tell you how intuition saved my life. I'm walking around on a Sunday morning like I typically do, enjoying the air, enjoying the sights. You know, at this point, I was coming home from the gym. This is a couple of years ago. Coming home from the gym, people are walking by me, but this one particular guy crossed my path. So I'm pretty tall. I'm almost 5'10". So when someone's like several inches taller than me, I notice. I go, I'm a tall person crossing my path. Okay, fine. Cross my path, I go about my way. Now my next step is I go into the local Rite Aid and I'm buying supplies and, you know, snacks and things like that. And corner of my eye, I see the tall 6'5" guy walk into the Rite Aid, the same guy I saw about 10 minutes prior. I'm like, okay, where I live is pretty populated. Maybe he's doing his thing. Mind you, now I'm like, okay, I'm making a lot of excuses, but that's fine. So I'm kind of doing my thing. I go shopping, I finish shopping and then I leave. Now I'm going home. So I live in a complex. It's pretty large. Thousands of people live here. There's people in and out all the time. So I'm walking to my complex. You know, it's Sunday morning. It's kind of cold, so it's not that many people as normally it would be. I'm in my hallway waiting for the elevator, press the elevator, waiting for it. Who do I see strolling down? Same person that I saw before. So now I'm like, okay, this is sort of weird, but why would I feel this way about this person? And now I'm starting to make all these excuses. They could be come visiting someone. Maybe they live here. People live here that I don't know. But your intuition was smacking me in the face, basically. But I still ignored it. I got on the elevator. No one's on the elevator but me. He comes behind me on the elevator. And now I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm like, ooh, so what's the next step? So I'm like, oh, no, go ahead, press your floor. He's like, no, you press your floor. I'm like, no, you press your floor. He did not press the floor. Okay? That was like alarm, red flag. So I jump off the elevator and I'm kind of standing to the side. And he jumped off the elevator too. And then I'm just looking at him. He's just looking at me and he strolls off and leaves. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I'm shaking internally. And I'm like, this person was following me. How come he didn't press his floor? What's going on? Why did not follow my intuition? But I'm so glad that I was able to, at the last moment, make a decision. So he left, I guess. And I'm like, no, I have to tell somebody. So we have a security guard. I told the security guard, hey, did you see this tall guy that left? He's like, yeah, I saw him, he left. But, I think he was following me. I don't know what's up with him. Just in case you see him, just keep an eye on him. He's like, okay, sure, I got you. So my thing is, listen to your intuition. Your intuition can never steer you wrong.
Good morning, friends. I am here with more of just a little intuitive story. I wanted to share my experience with intuition with the clairs, and I'm going to start with clairaudience, which is clear hearing. There are many different ways that divine messages will come to you, that your intuition will speak to you, and everybody has the ability to tap into their clairs, their intuitive abilities. It's not something that's just special. There are some of us, though, who have had experiences in our life who, for whatever reason, have heightened intuition from a very young age. I am one of those people. But it is certainly not exclusive to just me or special people. You can build intuitive muscles as well. So clairaudience is clear hearing. And I want to tell you this story, and it is crazy. When you have a divine intervention, it impacts you so profoundly. The memory of it stays burned within you. It is as clear to me now as it was the day that it happened. And this is many years ago. I am the mom of 3 daughters. I have twin daughters. And one day we went out. I don't know if you know what geocaching was. They were about 3 years old. They were wearing these beautiful little butterfly jackets. And we were out geocaching all day long. We were exhausted. We were coming home and we were driving home. My intention was to go home, not to do any more, because we had been out since the morning and it was late in the afternoon. And they're 3 years old. We've been walking through the forest, or I want to say the forest. We were walking through the trails, finding these little geocaches. And I'm driving and I'm about to turn into my neighborhood and I hear, do one more, do one more, do one more. And here's where I get emotional. And so I said to my girls, would you like to do one more geocache? And they both said, yay, yes. And so I normally would then have been, and this is in a matter of seconds, I would have been turning left to go towards my house, but I had to stop and turn right. Just as I hit the stop sign, this huge semi truck blew through the stop sign. Had we been turning left, we would have lost our life. That's how impactful it is. Clairs, or these messages, will come to you. They're not fear-mongering. They're just clear and concise messages, and they're meant for you to listen and follow. And I did that day, and I am so thankful that I did. I hope this was inspirational.
If you ever get a gut feeling that somebody is not your friend, listen to that feeling. Don't question it. Don't try to stick around and see if you're just being dramatic. Listen to your guts. I know some of you are going to be like, how do I know that it's not just anxiety? This is how you know that it's not just anxiety. If it is anxiety, you're going to feel this way around pretty much everybody, because that's what anxiety does. It convinces you that everybody is out to get you. But if you've noticed that you only feel that way around a certain person, you're completely calm, you're fine when you're with everybody else, but when you get around a certain person, your body starts feeling weird, listen to that feeling. It is a gut feeling and it is trying to protect you. And it doesn't matter if this person is nice to you or hasn't done anything to you yet. Don't stick around and try to figure out what it is. Your body can sense things that you cannot see, and it will always try to protect you. Listen to your gut.
Now, someone shared how our intuition actually saved her life. Now, she got the feeling to send a text to her friend, and when she was at a stop sign or something, she decided to listen to that thoughts, decided to listen to that voice to send that text to her friend. Now, she took about 3 seconds to send that text, and when she was about to move, she saw that a car came out of nowhere and rammed into the stop sign. Now, if she had not sent that text, if she had not listened to that voice that told her to send the text that she might have seen it as not important, she would have been at the position of the stop sign and the car would have hit her, and probably she would have had a very fatal injury, or she would have had a very terrible injury. So she was grateful for the fact that she listened to that voice and sent the text to her friend. Another person shared how she felt like her boyfriend was cheating and she did not know her boyfriend's password. And when she slept, she saw the password in her dream and she entered the password on her boyfriend's phone. And eventually she saw that the boyfriend was not cheating. I don't know how that's intuition. I don't know. I think that's just the ability to have dreams or ability to see visions in your dreams. I don't know how that's intuition, but that's what she felt like it's part of having intuition or part of having psychic ability or something. Anyway, personally, I can't say that there's any story that I can recollect that where my intuition has saved my life per se, but I know that sometimes I feel like something is off with some things, and sometimes it is usually off and what I was feeling was right. But to the extent of maybe not going somewhere and something happening, I don't think that has happened to me. The only thing is that maybe if I don't want to go to an event, I probably something will just happen that will not make me go to an event, and later on I find that the event was not that great or something like that, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness I did not go or something like that. But to the extent of something like a car, I don't know. I don't think so. It might have happened. I don't know. But right now, I cannot recollect. The only thing that I can recollect that my intuition or my feelings, whatever, prevented me from making a mistake was when I was walking somewhere, and there was this guy that was like really close to, and I like talking and everything, and we were communicating and everything, and I started getting feelings, and I was like, okay, I don't want a situation where I will catch feelings for someone and then I find out that something has happened. So I don't know, I just prayed that if this person is not right for me, God should just reveal something that would snap me out of this rubbish feeling. At that point, I was saying I just did not want to feel a particular way and get disappointed, because like I said in one of my other videos, I don't like myself when I like somebody. So I was feeling a particular way about liking this person. So I was just like, let me know what's up. If this one is going to go further, let me know. If it's not going to go further, cancel it at this point in time, because I don't want to be invested in a non-existing relationship and then find out things later on. Anyway, as God would be God, the next day I found out that he has a wife and 3 kids, and I was like, excuse me. And the way I found out was, we were walking and I think people were just discussing. I don't know if they actually started that discussion because they noticed something about him and me or something, but they were just discussing and they were like, he has 3 children, he has a wife, he has been married for maybe like 10 years or something. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I was so shocked. I was hot, but I was so shocked that instant answering to my prayer, because oh my goodness, it would have been a disaster if I had continued with whatever and I found out that later. It would have been such a disaster. Yes, I was a bit disappointed, I will not lie. I was a bit sad, but I knew that it was for my own good to learn that at that point in time before anything happens. So that I would say is kind of my, I don't know, intuition or feeling, or maybe it was just because I was tired of the nonsense that I've been receiving or the nonsense I've always been in. But that happened, and I was kind of grateful that the revelation came almost instantly. So that is my own story. I don't know if you can call it intuition or just feeling that something is off, or just wanting things to align. I don't know. But any trade, that's my own story. I don't know what you guys think about this whole topic. Do you have any story where your intuition saved your life or saved you from making a big mistake? I would love to hear your own story, so please leave it in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.